Hey everybody, welcome to The Well. This is a show where we do what you do, and we're going to take you on that journey to see how we've developed our financial advisory practice as digital marketers turned financial advisors.
Hey Andrew, welcome to season 2 of The Well.
Season 2.
Yeah.
Episode 1?
Episode 1, season 2. We already did a full season of this.
That's unbelievable.
I'm excited.
I am too.
Yep. 2024.
Yeah. We're recording this in 23.
We are.
But when you see it, this is 2024, so welcome to the new year.
We're starting off with a banger. You're supposed to be the hype boy over there.
The banger. We
have a banger here. We missed out on 1.2 million.
I think it was closer to 1.3.
Oh man.
Let me do the math while you're talking here.
Yeah, well.
Let's see.
I don't want to talk anymore. But because this show is all about telling you about the good things and the bad things.
1.25.
1.25.
$1.25 million that we did not write.
I think we
did write. You're right.
We did write.
We did
even
write.
submitted and then got taken away from us.
Yep.
So season 2, episode 1. Here's what we did wrong. Here's some bummers that didn't work out.
Actually, in both cases, I think we didn't do anything wrong.
Agreed.
I think we did the most moral, ethical, honest thing in both cases. Because in both cases, based on what the customer had requested, the product that we'd recommended was in their best interest, just strictly based on the numbers.
Yeah, if you're watching this and you're a little bit sketchy in the work that you do, you're not going to like this episode.
Yep.
So we're coming after you.
Yeah, we're coming after it. We're not going to name names. We're not going to drop any names here, but let's talk about the first. Well, let's talk about the source of the first one, Prime.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that real quick. In our last episode, the final episode of season 1, we mentioned. I think I teased something about like our biggest misses, and from like a marketing standpoint, and from a business standpoint, from like a business written standpoint, Prime takes the cake on both of those.
Yeah, Prime 47 is a local steakhouse, and it's a baller steakhouse. I mean,
Yeah.
it is like a good. My church serves it sometimes at different events. Like especially they had a guys event. Me and Paul went a couple years ago, and they had that, and the steak was amazing. So I think it was just like I would really like to do that, and so we worked it in, and I wish that we wouldn't have worked it in.
I mean, it was a good experience. I think for the most part, the staff did a really good job.
Yeah, the room was great. I mean, we had to put that thing kind of high. I remember.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a struggle, but
obviously well attended.
Yeah, very well attended. Attendance was strong. Quality in the room was strong. There was a lot of really good quality opportunities there. I think that what we learned about Prime specifically, like a high-end steakhouse dinner seminar, is those are not necessarily our people, like the people that we attracted. Because a lot of them were good people. I'm not saying they're not good people, but just a different type of client than maybe we're used to.
Yeah.
And certainly some of them were there just for the food, and some of them were just really, really, really sophisticated.
They were.
And just at a different, I don't know, it was different. It carried a different vibe. And we spent, I don't remember how much on that event, but it was a lot. It was a mint.
$98.42 was the total spend for a lunch and a dinner.
Lunch and dinner, yep.
Same day. So almost 10 grand. We had 60% attendance. So 27 buying units came that between the two events total. And we got 10 appointments. This was before we made the change to our presentation. We had increased our appointment ratio by like 20%. Go back to season 1 episode, I think 10, 9 or 10 or something like that. We talked about that. So we didn't have the typical appointments that we would have today, but 10 appointments. And like you said, it really, I mean, it did bring in good people. There was, of course, people there just for the steak. And in this room, I didn't actually even realize the door was there until somebody snuck out of it. But there was like a back door that went right to the street.
Yeah.
So a couple of people right after the meal just didn't even go by us. It was like, we need to lesson learned, like barricade that door, block it off or something. But so there's, of course, some people just there for that. But like you said, quality people.
Yeah, for sure.
They knew what we were talking about.
Yep. Yeah, there was one guy. He was there to network. You remember him?
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, can't miss him. Front left.
Yeah, front left. And man, he was working it. Richy actually, we identified that this guy was potentially problematic before the event. Richy called him.
Yeah, because Hannah talked to him, and he tried to pitch Hannah.
Yeah.
But his pitch was okay on the phone. It was like enough, like he might be who we want, he might not be. So
Right. But you called him ahead of time, and you're like, hey, you know, you're welcome to come if you're not doing this as like a networking type thing. And he came, and it was absolutely, he was passing out business cards, and he was talking to all these people about his thing. And basically, as it turns out, guy's like basically a cryptocurrency guy, and had said to us, well, if you guys can't legally sell this stuff, maybe your wives could for you. And we're just like, nope.
We're just not built that way.
No.
We're just not. We're just, our integrity is way too high. I cannot operate in anything sketchy.
Yep.
It irritates me. It annoys me. It angers me because there's people out there being impacted by that stuff.
Yep.
And this guy came to our event that we paid 10 grand for, and was obnoxious. It was annoying.
Yeah. And then 2 days after, he found our website and somehow managed to schedule a time on our calendar, even though we had told him, hey, we're not gonna do this. And he still managed to get a time on our calendar, which we just declined. But he was bold.
That irritates me so much too, because at that time we've gotten smoother, but when we present, like you're showing. I mean, you're showing up. You're having to kind of put on a show and be your best self and all that kind of stuff. So I remember we're in that mind space, and he's over here trying to like pitch us and pull us aside, and it was distracting. It was annoying.
Yeah. But I wouldn't say that was necessarily had anything to do with Prime.
Was that lunch or dinner? I want to say lunch.
I want to say lunch. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was lunch. So it was interesting for sure. I didn't expect that. But then one of the probably the best opportunity we got out of Prime came in, and we wrote him. We 2-appointment closed. 650,000.
650. We submitted it. I mean, literally, like it was perfect.
Yeah, app was pending.
He's such a good guy.
Yeah,
everything was great. Submitted it. Boom. We're high-fiving.
Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah, it was it was one of those things that like he had kind of checked all the boxes for the type of person that we wanted to work with, and he had the right assets for it, and this was a good solution.
Gave him a Yeti.
Yeah,
got the picture with him, like the whole
9 yards. Yeah, and he it was interesting because I don't think it was between the first appointment and the second appointment. So between parts 2 and part 3, we hadn't told him to do anything, but he had taken what he'd heard from us in the seminar and in part 2, and he had already moved all of his assets to cash. Right. On his own. He had said, hey, I'm tired of the volatility. I don't take these risks anymore. You're right. I should give up on losses. I shouldn't be taking these losses. I should be only focused on gains. So I'm going to move all my assets to cash and, let you guys tell me what to do, basically. So then he came in and he told us that like within the first 2 or 3 minutes of the appointment, which is not normal. Normally we're going through our recommendations and, hey, this is where we, blah, blah, blah. Fortunately, the recommendation we had for him was consistent with what he was even thinking himself. So It was, we were on the same page. He just had gotten ahead of it, which was great. Wrote the app, submitted it, followed up with him, and I
think we had a follow up like 4 or 5 days later, and kind of had a little bit of trouble getting a hold of him. Mm-hmm. So you guys know how that goes. If you can't get him, you start saying like, did something come up? Start
spiraling.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say you do it more than I do.
I for sure do it more than you do it.
Yeah. And so it's like, no, it's okay. I'm sure he's just this or that, or he's busy, this, whatever. But no, you were right on that one.
Yep.
It was the spiral was warranted because he had gone to another group down the street, and they rolled out some weird red carpet for him.
Yep.
And made some really weird recommendations that for some reason he thought were great. Yep. And it was sleazy, and it wasn't great. Yep. And we couldn't convince him otherwise because they had freaking.
Yeah, they had their initials embroidered on their shirt sleeves, and that's what literally that was brought up to us as one of the reasons. And it was like,
you just asked him. I remember too, I was so proud of us on that because we just straight up, you did your line about, hey, listen, if I was your son, this is how I would say it to you. Can I do that first? Is that okay? And you get their permission, and then you just say it directly to him. And I did the same thing, except on the military side. I'm like, look, I can't sit here and not go staff sergeant on you. So I'm going to get into my staff sergeant shoes in just a second, and I'm just going to tell you like it is. Is that cool? He's like, yeah. So we told him straight several times. Mm-hmm. And just his answer to us was they had custom clothes with their initials on their sleeves. And
which we're not going to even try to compete with that. But it was interesting. So we won't go into the nitty-gritty of the exact situation, but essentially the recommendation that was made was to purchase a 15-year annuity. This is not our recommendation. This was the other shops. and that in 5 to 7 years, the MVA would be so positive that the surrender charges would be null and void, and he could just roll out. That's why the 15-year wasn't a big deal. We had recommended a 10-year solution.
Hello. Hey, Mom. I'm doing a podcast right now. Yeah, I'll call you back. Okay. Bye. Right. Actually, it was Dad, Kansas place. We were pretty excited about it.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. What were we saying?
Roll back.
Yeah.
So we had recommended a 10-year solution to his deal because it was, it's basically what he wanted. He had told us he had wanted X, Y, and Z, and so we said, hey, this is the best solution based on what you want. And so this other shop had recommended a 15-year solution and positioned it that, because of the MVAs and blah, 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 everything's going to be positive in 7 years, and you can basically surrender the policy at that time, and you can get even better things going on then because the industry is constantly innovating and blah, 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 blah. Which, if you're doing that, man, I tell you what, first of all, that's not legal. Second of all, that's a really shady practice, and you shouldn't be doing that. Because you don't have a crystal ball. You don't know what's going to happen with interest rates. You don't know what's going to happen with the industry. You don't know for sure that this person's going to be able to roll away from that product in 7 years. That's just a really, really crappy way to do business. And I'm not even talking about from a competition standpoint. I'm just saying from an ethical, moral, like compliance standpoint, you shouldn't be positioning a 15-year contract, and that's the operative word, a contract, that the client is signing with the insurance carrier.
3 of them.
Yeah, 3 of them. That you intentionally are planting that seed right now that, hey, we're gonna surrender this thing in 7 years. And in the case that we were looking at, there were interest rate clawbacks, there were surrender recaptures, all this stuff that had not been, bonus recaptures that had not necessarily been disclosed. And we pointed all that out to this individual, and it just wasn't enough. The monogram shirt sleeves won over that. So one of those situations where we didn't win. But like I said at the beginning, I don't think we did anything wrong because after all was said and done, and he was kind of pitting us against them. Hey, what do you got versus this and that and the other thing? Our original recommendation, based on what he had told us, remained the same.
Yeah,
it was like, hey, when we told you we were going to look out for your best interests on day 1, that's what we did. And on day 7, it's still the recommendation.
Anybody who knows me knows I love competition. I love it. Mm-hmm. I love competition. If you're a competitor to RA, I love you. And I love that you innovate, you make things bigger, stronger, better, faster, because we're going to do it bigger, stronger, better, faster than you do it. I love that part. So I have no problem with a unique solution that might have been a better fit.
Right.
But it wasn't. It was only advisor serving. It had nothing to do with the client.
Right.
And it pissed me off. It was just annoying.
Yeah. I'm the same way because clearly the only reason to do that was to churn the business in 5 to 7 years. It wasn't going to improve the client situation at all.
No, and they got more commission than the products they recommended was higher commission level than the one we recommended. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, like you said, we went back and said, okay, because I was thankful he gave us all the information, so at least we could compile an argument, a case against it. But the other thing is we didn't slam the other advisor. We're slamming them now. We're not going to name them, but I didn't. To the client, we absolutely didn't. Because if he goes with them, and we talked about this before, we're like, we don't want to leave him, iffy. Like if he goes with them, I want him to be confident that that's the right choice for him. So we didn't want to slam the other advisor. We weren't trying to sink down to their level. It was, here's what they showed you, or what the plan is, and here's why it's not a good fit for you. It wasn't, oh, those guys don't go there, this, that. No, It was just, here's the plan and why it's not good. Right. And then make your best decision. But it didn't matter. It did not matter what we showed him. We were supposed going to do it. So 650, lost it.
Yep. Totally gone. Yep. And, I don't really, it's one of those where I don't think it was a failure on our part. No. But the lesson, it was more of a reinforcement of what we already know. Continue to deal with clients and prospects ethically. And, worst case scenario, we miss out on a big case like that. Best case scenario, we don't go to jail.
Yeah, I'm totally fine. I'm totally fine with it. Like I said, I hope the guy picked the right place and it's all good. I would say it was a contributor, not a primary by any means, a contributor to us looking for the new office space.
It played a role for sure. Yep. It reinforced what we already knew about getting the 65, pushing forward to that because it's just another kind of feather in the cap, so to speak. And this is one of those situations where I think you said it after that appointment. Like, I just don't trust these guys that we're competing against to be thinking in our client's best interest. Yeah. We have to have those tools in our toolbox to be able to, effectively compete against those individuals and take care of the
do the
clients.
right thing by them. Yeah. Do the right thing.
Two. I mean, we've already talked about in the last episode, but 2 big changes that are coming this year. Not exclusively as a result of that situation, but definitely that situation definitely encouraged us to continue to pursue those two things.
It's time. Yeah. At a certain point, I mean, it's time. It's like, once your kids are older and they're 18, you kick their butts out of the house. Like, they need to go be adults, right? Like, you love them, you support them, you grow them, and then you kick them out and let them do their thing. I felt like that was a moment for us. Like, okay, it's time for us let's kick out and let's go.
Yeah.
So it's time to do it. So that was the first one. That was the first banger. And what's the second banger?
Oh, the second banger was 623,000. That should have been. It's another one, man. We did everything right. Original recommendation back from April
2023, all the way to, this was literally a couple weeks, December 2023.
So I don't want to get into the nitty gritty on this one, but essentially these individuals had a variable annuity that was pretty high in fees. They wanted out of it. We looked at it back in April and said, hey, you can get out of it, but surrender charges are going to be X, Y, or Z. Maybe we should wait till December to do that.
Which was the
renewal date.
Yep.
And they of course they agreed. I think we could have pushed and gotten at them, but we didn't, because
Absolutely.
the right thing to do was to basically give up the opportunity at that point and say, hey, we're going to do the right thing by you and wait a few months to do this.
Save you a couple percent, save your money.
Yeah, keep them from having to pay as much. So we didn't pursue it heavily at that time, but we stayed in contact. We did the whole thing, and we made phone calls, sent emails, sent brownies, talked to them, went to their house a couple times, just generally speaking, stayed in touch with them, maintained good rapport, and even sent us like thank you cards and stuff. Like we developed a really good
incredible
relationship.
People, and there's nothing negative on them.
Yeah, nothing negative at all.
Yep.
But then in December, they said, okay, it's time to go. And we said, yep, it's time to go. And we sat down, and the whole plan was all ironed out. We figured out the income plan and everything that's going to go into it, and got everything all ready to go. And the day before we were supposed to take paperwork, they called me up and said, hey, I still have a surrender charge. Well, sure enough, we look at it. And yep, there's still a surrender charge.
Whose fault was that ultimately?
Ultimately, that was probably my fault.
I was going to say us. Yeah. I was going to say Andrew Riis's fault.
Yeah.
I was going to say our fault.
It was our fault. I didn't look closely at the surrender schedule. Yeah. I took what he said as gospel.
And I did too. He said it, and he was so sure about it, and he was very wise. He knows his products. And
yeah, he's one of those people that he
like knows it.
He knows it because
he could sell it. Like he knows it.
Well, he was a salesman at some point, and I don't think he ever sold insurance, but he knew what he had on everything else. I mean, he was quoting product names and different funds that he's in and da. Like he knew. And so when he said my surrenders are up on November 30th, I'm like, okay, yeah, I took it as gospel and didn't dig into it, which I should have done.
Hindsight. That was definitely a mess up on our part.
Yep. So but it wasn't a lost opportunity, because it was like, okay, well, we still have this. What can we do? And so we got creative with it. So, okay, take a penalty free. We'll still replace this portion, because he didn't want to pay those fees anymore. Didn't want the volatility of the variable annuity. So we came up with a good plan. Ironically, using the same product, just doing a slightly more creative strategy.
Yep.
And then I don't really know where it went off the rails at that point.
It has to have been an emotional connection to what he did.
Yeah,
it has to have been. We don't know who was on the other side. It was another advisor somewhere. I don't know who it was. He didn't tell us. And I've got to think there was some emotional connection to going that route, because ours beat it by the dollars. And that was really, we called him as a strategy. It's like, hey, so sounds like this is what you got. Is that correct? He's like, yeah. It's like, okay, so if we can come back and beat it by even $1, do we win this business? And he goes, yeah, it's yours. No brainer. So we got him to commit right there on the phone. It's like, okay. And then we already knew we had the winning product at that point. So now it was just going over there, showing it to him that it's winning, and then submitting it. But when we showed it to him that it's winning, everybody can see that it's a winner. And albeit it was not like a huge.
It was like $8 a month.
Yeah, we're talking $8 a month, but
there was some extra benefits.
There were some extra benefits.
Yeah, there were some
product.
Significant benefits. The cash value of the product would have lasted another year and a half. Basically, it was an income product. He really wanted an income product. And it had the well-being rider on it.
Yep,
it had some extra long-term care enhancements that his other solution did not have. So there were some significant tangible benefits.
If you're looking at it, just like this one's a winner. It doesn't matter how much buy or whatever. Like this one, if you're looking at the product, this one's an A product. This one's an A plus. Like it's the winner.
Yep.
Yeah. Nobody disputed that, but he still wouldn't go for it. Which, again, the only reasoning in my brain is that it was an emotional decision, some attachment to what he did and who he did it for, or whatever.
Yep. Yeah. I'm not upset about it at all.
No.
I think we did everything after it was all said and done. Both of us kind of looked at each other and was like, well,
It sucks to lose.
it sucks to lose, but sometimes somebody else builds a better emotional connection or whatever it is, whatever the reason, sometimes you're just not going to know.
Yeah.
And
we're sincere. I mean, I can say it until I'm blue in the face, but I literally mean, like, I want these people to be better off, whether they work with us or not.
Right.
And so again, in this situation, if they made that decision and that is what he felt like was best for him and his wife, then I'm good with that.
Yeah.
We did everything we could do.
Yeah. Did everything we could do. We did it morally, ethically, and we I don't know, kept our nose clean, so to speak. And I think we still have a positive relationship with them.
There's opportunities.
There's
still.
definitely opportunities there, and I think they know that we didn't do anything negative towards them whatsoever. No. We worked hard for them, and they know that, and we'll that'll come back around to us at some point.
Yep,
one way or another.
So those are the two. Those are the two that we're starting the year off with.
Two big misses.
We're technically ending the year, but starting it because the commissions wouldn't hit till the new year. So
yeah, that would have been a nice way to start 2024.
Yeah. So then we had so those were two productions that we missed out on, and then we missed out on a seminar that we were going to do here at this building.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. I forgot about that. We talked about in the last episode. One of the things that's huge that you guys got to be doing is just staying consistent with your seminars, even if that means running a smaller seminar. Just keep marketing. Keep marketing. Always have something. Have your next event or your next campaign, at least one in the hopper, ready to go.
Let me say, I got to double tap on that, as you would say. Mm-hmm. I got to do it because if your whole business depends on next week's seminar succeeding, you're doing something wrong. Because if you have to, like, you're so dire and I've got it, you're already behind the eight ball because you don't think that the prospects are going to see that. Like, right. Everybody's going to know, like, this is too important to you. But I also feel like, maybe you're just getting going. This is literally your first seminar. Okay, I kind of get that. But like, if you've been doing this a while and you're counting so much so on next week's seminar producing, that if you don't, your whole business fails. Like, you're doing something wrong. You need to look at your process. You need to look at your presentation, maybe like I don't even like your personality. Like, there's so many things that go in. Like, but I'm right though. There's so many guys and girls that should not be in front of anybody.
Right? No, you're 100% right.
So find a partner who is better being in front of people.
Yeah, do something. Because if it's that dire, like, you're doing something wrong. So okay. Yeah, I mean that's an excellent point. We see it all the time over at RA. Like, folks are basically counting. This is they're putting their seminar on their credit card, and if it doesn't go,
it's like.
We've actually turned away orders in that scenario because it's many times. I don't want that pressure, like, because I know from a marketing standpoint, RA marketing will deliver,
right?
But I also know that marketing is a moving target, and I am not presenting at your seminar. I don't know anything about you. Like, you could get up there and, like you said, be desperate and have that kind of like one of our friends calls it commission breath. Like, you could have this like this like, if I don't get this sale, I'm done. And like you said, clients are going to see that. Prospects are going to recognize that from a mile away. And if you don't have consistency in your marketing, we used to talk about the marketing cycle, the wave, the peaks and the valleys. If you don't have some way to even that out, you're going to be in trouble.
You're going to be in trouble.
So anyway, all that to say, we were practicing what we preached, and we had scheduled a seminar, educational style, kind of a workshop style, like a true traditional, like, mastermind style seminar in our office, not in this room, but this office building has a couple of conference rooms. We have a really nice one downstairs.
Put a picture of that up there.
Yeah, right there. It's blue. It's got a fish tank.
It's because it's unique enough that I want to show what it actually looks like. Because it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's different. We were going to do it mastermind style.
Yeah, just
seats about
intimate.
15. It was going to be really intimate. We're going to bring in some food. I don't remember if we're going to do pizza or sushi or something.
Because it really wasn't the point.
Right. Yeah. It was supposed to be just a mastermind. We started that campaign. I don't even remember when that was supposed to be.
We were doing it. Was it in November?
It was. Yeah, it had to be November.
Yeah. Yeah, it was November, first week of November. I don't know. But we only wanted 8 units in the room.
At most.
Yeah, at most. We couldn't even do more. I think 15 people total. So.
Right.
And it was, like you said, we were still going to present, but it was going to be, let's work together. So that when you leave today, essentially what we were trying to do is combine the seminar with the first appointment. So that all we have to do is meet that part 3 together with them to give them the plan because all the work had already been done.
Right.
That was the idea of it. I still think it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do it at some point.
It will work. It just, November didn't work.
Yeah. I'll back up just a moment. We live in Indiana, and 5 years ago, you could have said, hey, what are the worst markets in the country from like a marketing standpoint? And Indiana would never have been on that list in my mind. No, ever. Northeast Indianapolis is brutal from a marketing standpoint. And I've talked to some of our competitors, and they all agree. It's not just us, that it's this market that Richy and I have adopted as our own is one of the hardest, if not the hardest market in the country that we've dealt with, other than maybe like a Nashville or a Phoenix. Like there's
consistently.
Yeah. And it's been
triple the cost. I mean, we're talking like legitimately. It is like triple the cost of any other seminar, any other place.
We launched that campaign on the normal Thursday, and we got one registration over a 5-day period. And Rich and I got together on the Monday after it went live and was like, "What are we gonna do? Like, you can't.
It's not gonna work.
This is not gonna work. We're not gonna spend. I don't remember how much we had spent, but it was $700 or $800.
Yeah, it would have been. I think all in, we were thinking like ahead of time, like like $2,000. We can do a seminar. Mm-hmm. That would be sweet.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have to pay for the room because as part of our lease here at this building, the room was included. We could use it for a few hours, no problem. Man,
one person,
and so we that Monday. I don't remember I think it was your idea. I'm going to give you credit for it.
Well, because, it was, but not because I want credit, but because the week before I was like, I want to go old school, get back into like recruiting through webinars.
Yeah. And
then it just was a perfect case that just fit.
So Richy and I decided, hey, we're going to cancel this event, but we're not going to cancel our marketing cycle. And that's the key takeaway. If you have to cancel an event for one reason or another, you got to make sure that you're not missing the opportunity to get in front of people. So we did a webinar.
I mean, literally Monday, let's do the webinar. Mm-hmm. Do we record Monday or Tuesday?
I record Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning, we record. And we didn't even have we have our seminar presentation, which is what we use, but we did have to make some changes and updates to it because it's now online. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying, you make a decision and you take action. Just do it.
Let's do it.
And so the next day, not even 24 hours later, we record that webinar, get it buttoned up, and we were live the next day.
2 days later. 2 days later. Yep. So we started the first campaign for the office thing on Thursday. I don't remember the dates, but it was Thursday. Decided Monday, hey, this isn't flying. So we shot that thing down and recorded on Tuesday and started the next campaign on Thursday. Yep. Obviously, we had the benefit of owning the marketing agency, right? So we can make things happen quickly like that. But we make things happen like that quickly for our customers all the time, quite frankly.
Because we want you to win.
Yeah, we absolutely want you to win. So we launched that campaign, and it went well from a marketing standpoint. We got good, decent registration numbers, but we had never done a webinar before. We had RA has done thousands of webinars for our clients before, but Richy and I had never run one on the Playmice side.
Not on this side of it.
Right.
Yeah. We've done webinars to recruit you guys. Like that's why I said old school, because we used to be like the number one recruiting FMO, and all we did is use webinars. Mm-hmm. And we'd call you before, and then anybody that was on it, we would just slam the phones until you tell us no, and then we'd go through the replays and do it. Mm-hmm. So we were like, let's do that on this side. So this was the first time we did it on this side, and I'll tell you the numbers real quick. We had 59 units register. Okay. We did all of East Coast.
Yep, except for like New York and Florida. I think we didn't take those two states.
Which you guys should echo that. Don't just do your state. Don't just do like your city.
Right.
Go ahead and branch out. So we did East Coast just to keep it simple. And then, so 59 units registered. We had 30 even attend live.
30 units?
Yeah, units. Yeah, we had 50.85% attendance.
Hannah called all those, right?
Yeah, same exact process.
Yeah, nice.
Same process. Yeah, the unit registers, everybody gets an email, it goes to the roster, and Hannah would call everybody. I know a couple of them twice. I know for sure once. Mm-hmm. But yeah, 50% on a webinar live.
That's really good.
Heck yeah. How'd you feel?
Weird. Super, super weird. Because we did it the way we've traditionally done it. Yep. For advisors, where we recorded on Tuesday 2 weeks before, basically. Yep. I edited the video together. Ethan, you probably would have been, just cringing watching me edit this video, but
I got a great job.
It worked out great. I did a great job.
Yeah.
I'll pat myself.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, it looks good.
Professional.
Yeah, it was. I used DaVinci Resolve, like 4 renditions of the software. But it's great. Anyway,
it's impressive.
So
even he's not.
He's not.
Okay.
I'm on like 17.2, I think. So
isn't it in 18s now?
It's in the 18s for sure. Anyway, I digress. Edited that sucker, put it together, and it goes live. So it looks live to the consumer.
Yeah.
At 6:30 on Tuesday or whatever it was, and it was so weird because I remember Crystal and I are sitting in my office, and like Richy and I are manning the live chat. Was Hannah with you as well?
She's in there.
Yeah. So we're like
excited.
the four of us are just like watching this thing happen, and it's like people are sending in messages.
I had my kids in there, like everybody's just huddled around, like what's gonna happen?
What's happening?
What is this show? Like, well, there's not much to see, and that's why it was so weird.
Yeah, it was. So anybody that has run a webinar will probably be familiar with that. Like you don't know what to do with your hands in that moment. You're just like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, it went well. We got 5 appointments, I think, out of it.
Let me look. I think it was more. I feel like
5 or 6.
6 appointments.
6 appointment requests, maybe 5 sat. I know one of them didn't stick.
Yeah.
One didn't stick. But I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but you know what did happen pretty quickly? 2 weeks later, in fact?
Yep.
Wrote a piece of business off of the webinar.
It was sick.
I was like, oh, that worked.
Yep.
I mean, we were just kind of doing it, not on a lark, because we had seen it done, multiple times, but probably for the last year and a half, we've always been a little bit like, I don't know, webinars, they're tough. That's a really hard thing to do. The sales cycle is really long, blah, blah, blah. Sales cycle was just as fast, if not faster.
I'm claiming it. We have literally found a secret sauce.
Yeah,
There's
for sure.
probably 1,600 different secret sauces.
Right.
We have found a secret sauce to make even the seminar and definitely the webinar actually convert, and it's just putting in a demo.
Yeah.
There's obviously some slides and some techniques and some salesmanship, but it's a what's in it for you slide.
Yep.
And you just show that to every prospect so that they've now seen you do your whole dog and pony show, but it's like, okay, what are you going to do for me? Why am I here?
Yeah.
Well, we show that now in the presentation, and I'm convinced, and obviously you did a heck of a job, like on the sales cycle and the meetings and relating to them and building the proper plan. Cause you took them A to Z on that. I think.
Yeah. All the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's fantastic. So we saw a business off of a webinar
very quickly.
very quickly.
That was the most encouraging part to me. And I think Richy only barely touched on it, like the secret sauce thing. Like this podcast is all about sharing. Guys, do that. You don't get up there and tell them how smart you are and show them all your designations and give them all the charts and graphs. Like that stuff's good, but like they don't care at the seminar or the webinar. Like get up there and let them know who you are. Be yourself. Yeah, you need to show that you're not an idiot. You need to give some good information. But like Richy said, show them what's in it for them. Like, and literally show them. Don't be like, don't kind of speak, what is it, ethereally or whatever. Don't give them like this weird, like this is what you should get. Like, no, show them, hey, these are the reports you're gonna get.
Like guys, he's literally telling you to put a picture of the report on the screen and show them it.
Yeah, real life case studies of, hey, this is a customer, and all their personal and identifying information has been removed, but like this was her situation. This is how we helped her.
Yeah.
And this is what it looked like when we gave her a report. Here's a screenshot from her report. No name on it. Everything's compliant. But here are the numbers that you're going to, and if you get to this part of our process, you're going to get one of these too.
Right. This is what we want to give every single one of you. If we had to boil it down, it's a visual, easy to follow plan that looks like this.
Yep. And that whole pitch takes 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it's at the end of the presentation, like after we've first let them know that we're going to be like, hey, you need to schedule an appointment, blah, blah, blah. And Richy's like, hey, but wait, and we tease it throughout the presentation, but do that for sure. That is, doesn't matter what your topic is. Tell them what they're going to get.
It's also a pattern interrupt, because if you go through the teaching and you just kind of laissez-faire, like right through the pitch and schedule an appointment with me, and I'm boring and I don't even like what I do, and like that's how they feel when they're watching it.
Right.
So it's also an opportunity where literally we say, okay, stretch out, like wake up. That was some heavy material. We get it. But let's bring it home now. Everybody's feeling good. You guys feeling good? Like alive? Get some energy going. Okay. 5 minutes, close, get your appointments, business in 2 weeks from a webinar.
Yep. Yeah. I'm telling you, webinars, we are not going to replace our seminars with webinars, but for sure we're going to run some consistent webinars throughout the year. We got to re-record.
Yeah, we're going to re-record. That's probably the annoying thing.
Yeah.
But if you do a seminar, you're re-recording every time you present a seminar. So.
And honestly, once we get a good one, and the last one was good, but it was just right at the end of the year, so there's enough changes with like Social Security and taxes and things like that. So we got to change the content anyway. But I think what we record in late December or January for the webinar, we'll probably be able to use that for at least a quarter, at least.
Yeah. We recorded it in Zoom, face the camera, share the screen, go through the presentation. Super, super simple.
Yep. Easy peasy.
So pivot quick. Don't give up just because it's not going well. Don't freak out and get mad at everybody else. What can you do?
Yeah.
I always tell my kids, like, you can't control everything around you, but you can control what you do and your attitude and your, so act on things that you see, be aggressive about it, and schedule something different. Pivot quickly. And then, webinars, man.
Yeah.
Layer them in. They worked for us.
Yeah, worked for us. We're going to definitely do it again. Well, let's wrap it up with what's on feet. And
Yep, let's do that. Also, next episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do it. It's going to be fun.
Next episode, we're going to be doing a special recording at an event. One of our partners in the industry has asked us to record our podcast at their event. So we're going to do that. We're going to bring in some guest speakers. We're going to have a live audience. Have a live audience.
That's going to be cool.
Ethan's going to be down there running his little tail off, getting a bunch of footage of a bunch of different things. And yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, season 2 of The Well is going to be a lot like that, I think. We'll definitely do these, and we'll be sitting in these chairs doing what we're doing, but also like taking you places and showing you more scenes and what it's like. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, not just seminars, business.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
These were my whoopsies. I love these. So if you know me, you know I love Jordan 4s, and I particularly love the laser version of a Jordan 4. Mm-hmm. And so these are the black gum laser Jordan 4s, and I don't forget 2000. They're older. Mm-hmm. These aren't the 2005s. The white ones are from 2005. But anyways, you can't get them anywhere but like a restock or like a StockX or something like that.
Right.
So I had a bid out on these things. And you can either buy them right now for this much money or bid here and hope somebody says yes, and then you can get it. So I sometimes will bid just kind of playing with it. And it's funny because I'll go up $1 and they'll come down $1. And I'll go up $1. So we're like communicating to each other through the bid. So I'm kind of like doing that. And I had a decent bid out. I think it was only $30 under the ask or something like that. And then Black Friday hits. Mm-hmm. And there's no seller fees on Black Friday. I talked about that in the last episode. So all of a sudden, boom, I hit like 3 of my bids within like a second. I was like, oh, I didn't want all those, so I'm pulling my other bids out because I didn't want that to keep happening. So anyways, these are 100% welcome in my collection, but they were oopsies because I wasn't even really expecting them when I got them.
Wasn't really planning on it, huh?
Yep.
Yep. I'm also wearing a black shoe today. These are 3s. I highlighted them in the last episode. These are the Desert Elephants. I think it's actually technically a collab. I don't know.
I'm not sure either. Probably though.
On the box, there's there's the plus symbol and a couple other things. But Crystal got these for me last year for Christmas, and it's one of those things like when I pull them out of the box, I'm like, I don't know, they're so weird. I don't really want to wear those today. But then when I put them on, I'm like, I actually really like those.
Yeah, I like them a lot.
So and
real fall-y, like a really good fall shoe.
Yeah,
winter shoe.
Yeah, they're solid and they're super super comfortable. I think the 3s are the most comfortable of the Jordans. The 4s hit my ankles all weird, my toes weird. The 1s are
you don't
fine,
like your Achilles just being sliced
don't.
Off by that bad boy?
Honestly, it's a toe box, man. Every time I walk in those, I feel like my big toe's getting broken.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know what it is. I have one pair of 4s, and I love the way they look.
Yep.
I hate wearing them because they hurt my toes. But yeah. Anyway.
Okay, well, boom, that's a wrap. Episode 1.
Episode 1 of season 2.
Season 2. The next one, don't miss it. We'll be live. It's gonna be cool.
It's gonna be a good one.
Thanks, everybody.